4. This thing always does this to me. Okay, 5, 4. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is your Daily Huddle, and my name is Giovanni Gonzalez, and we are excited to be here. Thank you all for joining us right on time at 9 a.m. at the top of the hour every day to start a powerful day. We say over here that the way you start your day gives you the rest of your day, and the way that you live each day gives you the rest of your life. So there's something about the morning. There's something about being rigorous in the morning. It sets the tone for the rest of the day to make the right choices and to make the right decisions that give you the rest of your life. It is always my privilege to introduce my business partner and friend and the #1 American's executive coach expert, Sorel Catan. Good morning, Sorel.
Good morning, Giovanni, and good morning, everybody. Welcome, Nova, Mark, Maria, and Rose is here, and Jerry's here. Welcome, welcome. I have the distinct pleasure of co-hosting the Daily Huddle with my friend, the #1 transformational leadership coach, and that is Sir Giovanni Gonzalez. And today I have the privilege and the honor of introducing our expert guest, who will be digging into this question. Do you know what makes up your personal brand? Well, whether you do know or not, you're going to find out a whole bunch more from Nova Kopp. Nova is, in my own words, the queen of personal branding. Welcome, Nova, Mark. And here's why I say that. Nova's currently the Miss Transcontinental Universe 2019. Nova is a philanthropist and an ambassador for domestic violence through Hillside, which spreads awareness about the needs of children affected by mental illness and trauma, abuse, and neglect, working toward increased education and funding. Professionally, Nova is currently a director of training at AT&T, and she's also a life coach and works with people to share her message that is never too late to become the person of your dreams. And you know, to be the person of your dreams requires something called personal branding. And there's a marriage between the two that Nova just exquisitely presents and creates for you. And it's my pleasure to introduce to the world this morning, Nova Kopp, Miss Transcontinental Universe 2019. Nova, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. And I'm super honored to be here. And the reason why is I want to share my story of why I teach personal branding. So I'm going to give you a quick history. My father was in the Navy, was abused, and went overseas to meet my mother from Morocco and married her, brought her to the United States. What my mother didn't know is he was our abuser. And throughout the years, at 14 years old, he killed himself. So I was a lost human being with a lot of baggage. I ended up getting married, divorced, having children, and my first job was making $7 an hour. And I knew without gas, without money, and I looked at all the executives come in and I thought, what are they doing? So I met a gentleman and I asked him this question: what do I do to build my personal brand and change my future, my destiny? And here's what I learned I'll be 55, over 30 something years ago, and it resonated with me. Number 1, your personal brand is built on 4 pillars. Your physical health and wellness. To be able to sustain yourself in a job where we're now working 8, 10, 12 hours, you need to take care of yourself. Not only for the visual, in being healthy, but also for your mental acuity, mental, emotional intelligence. You have to have resilience and agile and teamwork and leadership because your mental acuity gets tested every day when you're dealing with people that are different than us. Whether they're smart, they're analytical, whether they're high EI, you got to be able to deal with everyone. Spiritual. In my theater of my mind, being abused all my life, I never thought I could be anyone but surviving every day. So I had to work on spiritual. I knew the theater, what I was replaying in my mind, put me in handcuffs. It didn't allow me to have confidence to go in front of people. I was completely a wilting flower, and I knew I had to work on that. And then financial. I was broke. How can I really be present coming to work when I'm making $7 an hour and I can't even pay my daycare? So I knew I had to pull those 4 levers and fundamentally master all of it and think end in mind. Brian Tracy, when I'm 70 years old, what do I want to accomplish? With God's help, of course. What do I need to refine every day and fight the good fight? And we know everything's in mindset. We know that we've got to really heal ourselves and take care of self before we present ourselves in front of the world. So once you do that, and it's really a mastery, you guys, I haven't arrived yet. The enemy will come and tell me things, I'm not good enough, I'm not this, but I overcome it. At 42 years old, I got my undergrad. At 50, I got my master's degree. Remember what I told you? It's never too late. And the reason I got it, because of the collective group of people I surround myself with. One gentleman said, Nova, what is your butt behind your name? I said, butt? He goes, yeah, Nova's good at what she does, but. And he reminded me, I didn't have an education and I'm in corporate. I had to get an education at 42 and it was painful. Because remember, my dad killed himself at 14. I died at 14. And people like you helped me come alive again. And that's why you got to stay humble and understand it. So once I mastered the pillars, I started looking at, in this day and environment and competitive world, people want to define you. No, no, no. How do we define ourselves, right? How do we define ourselves? We start with positioning ourselves powerfully, looking at what is your unique skill, Molly? What makes you different, Mark? And how are you going to use that to propel you? And I'll give you an example. I love people. I coach and develop people. That is my thing my whole life because I know people wear a mask. I know people dress up. I know people want to try to be who they are, but inside themselves, they have hindered themselves, whether it's a generational curse, which I had, and you got to break it, or the high school person that said something to you that hurt your soul and stopped you from being, taking chances. You have to really understand who you are and sit down and be honest with yourself. Some people are individual contributors. Leave me alone. I'm intellectual. I love being intellectual and I can do the work. Some people like people. You got to know what makes you motivated. And you got to uncover those strengths and skills and write them down. Once you do that, then you got to find out, how am I going to articulate my message to the world? And today, messaging is so different. We have LinkedIn, we have Facebook, we have resumes, bios, we have things like this that continue to propel you. What is your messaging and how am I going to articulate myself? And that is how you develop your brand because it's consistent. If you think of Chick-fil-A, some of the businesses, you can walk in there, it's consistent, uniform messaging, how they treat you, the quality of service, the quality of food, same thing goes for you. Are you consistent? Does your LinkedIn match your resume, match your Facebook? In what you're telling the world, is it authentic? A brand is authentic, right? So you got to make sure you're able to position and propel your brand consistency. But the only way you guys can do that, honestly, is know who you are. And then the marketing. It's so funny when people are coming to me, I look at their promotion, I look at how they plan it, I look at their resume, I look at their personal brand, and I Google them. I Google everybody. And I go, is it authentic? Because I can teach anybody anything when it comes to work, but I can't teach someone to propel their brand and define and be strong, right? So remember this, all of us sitting here, we are the CEO of our own company right now. Our financials are the accounting. Our health and wellness is our energy. Our spiritual forgiveness, emotional bank account is how we treat people, right? And our mental is continuous growth. I have my MBA since 2010. I could go, oh, I got my MBA. I have taken 22 classes on LinkedIn to keep refining myself. Are you guys refining yourself? Are you continuing to grow and take that butt and get rid of it? Or do you have a fatal flaw that you have, but you can't see it, but other people can? That's why you hire people like this gentleman, right? At the end of the day, they help you. And none of us can do this by ourselves. When I did a movie with Demi Moore, what was interesting is I was young and it was G.I. Jane. I was it came on as, grunt work. And I basically looked at her and she had coaches. She was making 25 million. I was making 25 cents. And what dawned on me is I remember the man 30 years ago that talked about brand coaching, getting around people that are influencers that help you continue to grow. So when you think about your brand, are you consistent? What does your messaging look like? If I went on LinkedIn today, do you quantify your message? Meaning if a company is looking for you or a business looking for you, is it just status quo? Or are you quantifying the measurements that you bring to the party? And that's where honing in your messaging and marketing is really critical. So we think about, why do we need a personal brand today? The world is different, my friends. You know it, I know it. It's very competitive. I'm going to be 55. Other people are coming in that are stronger, faster, better mental acuity than I am. Then they grew up with technology. They know how to do things quicker, faster. So am I going to succumb to that, or am I going to lean in and learn from them? That's the question I want to ask you. Will you lean in? Will you refine yourself? Will you take an inventory of your brand and ask yourself, what is the but behind your name? So if anybody has any questions, I can go on and on and on, but I'd love a two-way conversation because you guys apparently understand this is an important topic, and we have life coaches on the call. So anyone have any questions?
Nova, thank you so much. This is a conversation for the world to hear. And I want to open it up for questions with this comment. Having a personal brand or building a personal brand is not a gimmick.
No.
It's not, based on what you're saying, I'm hearing that it's not the flashy flyer. It's not the well-crafted copywriting. It's not any of that. While all of that is needed, what it is building a self and knowing yourself and being authentic, and then telling the world who you are in an authentic voice. So I totally get that. So given that, what comments or questions do you have for Nova today? Giovanni, anything on your end?
Come on, Giovanni.
Come on. Nova, you're awesome. Thank you, Nova. I was like, taking notes. I was so surprised how much notes I was taking on and also love the energy that you bring and the challenge that you bring. What is your butt behind your name? I'm like, oh my God, no, this is too early. Don't do this to me. But I did have a question, right? There is this, I'm wondering how you manage it, if you will. There is this social conversation around personal branding now, and I can't help but to see some of my clients and myself dealing with this. I'm not enough, but I'm not enough. In this like hidden comparison between
Ooh.
who I am, who I could be, who I should be, that really truly leaves a lot of people full of anxiety and trying to be someone they're not, or they're not necessary. And that whole soup that I'm mentioning to you, I don't think it's avoidable by anybody dealing with that anxiety. How do you deal with it yourself?
You take off the mask. We all wear it. Here's what I'll tell you. Competing in pageants, people go, oh my gosh, how did you start pageants at a later age when girls are 20 and I'm older? What I learned is, and this is a perfect metaphor, and this is where God restored me, because I was broken, tomboy, compared, felt weak. My dad whispered, he abused me physically, mentally, spiritually. He broke me down. I was ugly, everything. I couldn't write, I couldn't do this. It stayed in my head. So first, you got a spiritual connect. We are all daughters, I believe, of the King and sons of the King. So you got to break the curse, and then you got to realize you have your own journey. You cannot compare your life to my life. I'm running my own race. We hear that. But in pageants, you see girls that are 20, I'm 50, girls that have never had kids, I have kids. And I could go in and look to my right, look to my left, and freak myself out and not go on stage. But what I learned through that metaphor, and I did it more for building my confidence and testing the ability not to look to the right and left. The narrative that we create ourselves is mostly false. Everybody feels that way. We all have some type of insecurities, but some of us use it to propel ourselves and to fight it. So when you put a circle around yourself, the more you go against what your brain will tell you, that feeling you're not good enough, you show up and the circle gets bigger. The more that you challenge your noise, and I'll tell you, you guys, I had the worst week this week. I did not want to do this. And I had to film, because I'm a Sunday school teacher, I had to film something yesterday. I almost canceled both. But that was my feeling. My commitment of who I am, what I am, and why I do the things overshadowed that fear, that noise, and I'm here. And trust me, I had a bad week. And because you got to differentiate, you got to differentiate your thinking, because your thinking will lead you, and your emotions will lead you in a spiral, and it stops you. Trust me, I have the biggest theater in my head that I have learned to overcome it by showing up. And here I'll tell you this. I'll use this as another example. Going to college at 42 with young people, and I had to show up. I'm not smart enough to go virtual. I'm not. My mind told me, don't do it. You're not smart enough. You didn't even study in high school, but I showed up. And my mentor told me in life, half of the battle of everything you do, no matter what you feel, is showing up. Just show up. I never missed a day class, not even for my MBA. I showed up, and then I applied myself. That is the secret when we're interviewing, when we're having those doubts. You got to remember all the times you showed up and what was the outcome. And failure's not a bad thing. When I first competed in Miss Georgia, I got 4th runner-up. That's okay. I learned. When you learn, I went back and I won the next year. And remember, I go against a lot in my head, and this is why I really, really want to teach people this, because I understand the noise, the insecurities. I'm afraid. I am the biggest chicken in the world, but I'm fighting it. and I don't compare. And ladies, for you, what I found when people are applying a job, not like men, statistics say most women won't apply for the job because they don't feel like they have the 80% competencies, while men, on the other hand, just go for it and they get it. We got to go for it and just prepare, plan, organize, and execute. And it is really understanding the hiring manager, and it is really understanding what you bring to the party, because we're all different, and managers want different people.
Nova, that is awesome. So we've got 4 hands up.
Woo!
And they all want a piece of you. So we'll start with Andrea. Andrea.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Noah. Thank you so much for the inspiring words. I believe you answered my question, but I'm still going to rephrase it a little bit. My question was regarding your point of view about fear. We as entrepreneur, particularly for me as a woman entrepreneur with an accent from another country, how do you overcome fear? Or not overcome, what's your opinion about fear?
Fear is natural, right? Sometimes the fear gets our adrenaline up. We got to learn how to hone it to make it work for us. And we got to understand, you got to really debrief on things that you were successful on and remember that and let it wire your brain. The things that you failed on, refine it, improve it. When fear knocks on your door, it's going to knock. You let faith open it because you're strong. You know who you are. But remember, when the noise comes, it comes for all of us. It's like this. Weeds are going to come in your garden, you know, right? So the flowers and what you built so beautiful, so it doesn't die and get overgrown, what do? You pull them out. Just like fear. It's natural. Welcome it, learn what it's teaching you, and overcome it. When fear knocks, let faith open. And you got to have faith in yourself. Because believe me, my whole life, fear whispered. All the time, even here, coming here. But something unlocks of the why you're doing it. You know, he asked me, who do I want to promote? The book, blah, 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 blah. I don't have anything to promote. All I want to promote is grabbing your hand, teaching you one thing, and getting you stronger. So when you go through your journey, somebody's going to ask you that same question, and you're going to pay it forward.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Andrea. We'll go to Njeri next.
Hello, hello.
Nova, thanks for bringing it this morning.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thanks. My question is, how do you create your brand but keep it from limiting you or defining you while you're growing?
I don't let it define me. I define it. So if you think of my life today, think about it. There's more to me than just corporate. I'm here, right? You find your love. So if you look at my love is people. So let's break it down. I'm a philanthropist and I focus on domestic violence and foster kids. Because my father was a foster kid, he was broken. So I know how important it is to help people build their brand. The second, I'm a pageant, I'm a queen. And currently a reigning queen for Transcontinental. And what that does for me, it's not for this, because some people, when I turn around with my crown, they're like, she's older. It's more for what I can do for people and children, right? So spiritual, I'm a Sunday school teacher. I have 20 girls that have been with me for 4 years. I just graduated them. It's people. And then my corporate, I have 115 people that work for me. It's people. So when you talk about your brand, remember what I said, you got to find in the beginning what you love. And then it's like a tree. You're the the stump of the tree. And then the branches are everything that you love, that gives you energy. So whatever you are, Because people will look at me and I'm sure they judge me. What is she doing? A pageant? What, she thinks she's cute? It's the noise. No, you've got to be your foundation of the why you do things. And if you look, they all intertwine. All of it. It's all for me. So you got to sit down with yourself and with, you have a coach on the line here, the huddle group, or you're equipped with a whole bunch of people. Sit down and write down your skills, your competencies, and what you love, and what makes you ask that question. What else do you want to do that is tapping on your spirit that you're not doing because you're afraid it's going to take you off what you have built your brand to be? I look at it as a tree. We're all going to be, that's who we are. We're so unique. And you're not supposed to be just one element of who you are. Remember, physical, mental, spiritual, financial, there's a lot of ways to hit those buckets. And some people are entrepreneurs. I owned 2 businesses before I sold them, and I worked for corporate my whole life. I had 2 identities, but my core being is people. Like, they can put me as a maid at AT&T. If I had a team, I'll be the happiest maid ever. It's not what you do, it's what you love. And I love people.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope I answered your question. You can always call me and I'll talk to you if I didn't answer your question specifically. Because I am here for you guys. And ladies, of course.
And thank you, Aunt Jerry. Thomas Skaggs, you're up.
Hi, Thomas. Let me see that face. Where are you?
I'm touched by what you say because I was also raised in state homes and foster care. And I realized that your brand is you, who you are, the walls you built, and the protectionism you have instinctively to survive becomes the core of who you are unless you're careful. And you lose yourself inside the protectionism and you become brittle and mean and hard and cold. And like you, I'm a believer, and I'm a street minister now because I see where people are and how they are, and I want them to find themselves in their true authenticity, in the discovery of not what they think they know, but who they are inside of what they don't know yet.
Exactly.
And my job is to help them develop the skill set that they have, that they already know. They're already perfect the way they are. They're made the way they need to be. There's nothing wrong with them. The message that there's something wrong with us is wrong. It doesn't work.
It's the world noise. It's not real.
And the only thing I'm looking at is if I'm looking at anything that's broken, is we're all broken in some way.
Yes,
and in order for me to heal, I must, as I get from you, be a space of healing so I can heal as others heal around me. And I thank you for that.
That is perfect. And you said it so well. And see, what I know, I can feel your soul, your pain, your health, your growth, because it's interesting how I call it an impasse, how we all connect. But I'm glad you're doing something about it because we're all warriors. We all got to unleash the warrior within ourselves, and it's being clear of your authentic self. And it sounds cliche, but it is so true.
I'm writing a book, and it's called, I try to take the humorous side sometimes because I get too serious. And the name of the book is, What Did You Think Would Happen? So,
oh, I love that. That's a great name.
I think it's going to be different. And then, it's actually the way of being a crazy man, because I'm thinking of doing the same thing over and over again and having different results. Now, come on, what did you think would happen? Get real here. Wake up.
Wake up.
So, yeah, that's the self-talk that, hey, you want something different, then do something different. Don't do the same thing and expect different things. It just
branch out. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Well, thank you. You're
Thank
really,
you, sir. And I
you're
want to
really
buy your
stirring
book.
my soul. Thank you for that.
I want to buy your book. Stay in
Thank
touch.
you, Nova. Karina, we're going to go to you, and then Nova will come back to you for your last words.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, first of all, I really enjoyed your talk, and I went and looked at the video of you getting crowned for the Miss Universe. That was really elegant, and I was just struck by you talking about that, and then being who you are for other people. And a couple of things, I really love what you talked about, how your commitment is to foster care. My mom was actually born in a home for unwed mothers, and then put into foster care, and then adopted. And it formed her whole entire life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I just acknowledge you for taking that on as a commitment in the world. And I'm an artist. I'm a metal sculptor in mixed media. This is a piece. And
Beautiful.
thank you. And I was really fascinated when you were talking about branding. And I've been in this dialogue with people that are entrepreneurs, about branding and through coaching and stuff like that. And it's something, I don't want to say I struggle with, but I have some kind of conversation in my head, like I don't want to be too commercial. And like that there's something that can define who I am in terms of making very particular choices about colors and, how I speak and all of that. And I wondered if you had some feedback or input on, and I took some notes about what you said about spiritual material, what you love and being the tree trunk. But I was just wondering if you had I don't know exactly what my question is in all of there, but I guess like a direction to really look and be true to what my brand is and develop that further.
You know what's interesting? Because I was praying while you were talking to get the answer. But the interesting part about it, looking at your soul and your light all over your face, you have the answer. Your noise in your head is stopping you from propelling. Having a creative gene in the body is such a gift. To the right, I think it's your painting.
Yeah.
To my right, to the left is your. Who can do that? I can't do that. And so your art is, I think, what I would do if I was an artist is tell your story around the pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And how it connects with other people. People buy things because of connection.
Connection, yeah.
So I showed the mask.
Yeah.
Earlier, this is from Africa. Why did I buy this? It's connection. It reminds me of my trip to Africa. So you've got to create your story and resonate in the heart and the mind of people. If you just do mind connection, you'll always be making it. If you do heart connection, you get my heart and mind, I will be a follower and buying your product all the time. Yeah. Business people don't know how to connect. If they think it's one and done. They don't build databases like they used to. So when I bought a business, real quick, I bought a business, it was going under. I love buying businesses that are going under because I know how to turn it around. In 6 months, I had a line out my door and it was insane. And then I ultimately sold it. The thing that I'll tell you, what I did, and nobody does it anymore, it drives me nuts. My mother taught me this, is you got to connect the heart and the mind. Your buyer is your friend. Mm-hmm. Most people treat them like a transaction. Mm-hmm. Thank you. And that's it. Next. No, people tell other people will fight for you if you have their heart. And most business people don't do that today because they're being taught one thing, transaction, revenue, and they forget how you build that. And how I built my businesses, one person at a time. And I was true to my authenticity. Remember I told you I love people? Yeah. My clients loved me because I had parties, I took care of them, I gave them stuff at times, their birthday. I just did little things that other people don't do. Yeah. Be different, be yourself, and I'm telling you, you got what it takes.
Thank you.
Don't let that story, but you're always welcome to call me too. And I live in Roswell, Georgia, everybody, so if you want to go to lunch, let me know. And it's free. It's free. There's no charge.
Yeah, I'd love to be in dialogue. I know we're at the end of our time, and one
Oh,
thing, I've been saving suitcases. I saw this article about donating suitcases to foster care, and I would love a referral because I have all these suitcases that I wanted to donate. So if you had a good referral for a place to give those, I've been saving suitcases.
I do. Absolutely.
Well, I'll be sure to connect, give your information, Nova, and connect Karina and make sure that that good happens. Nova, I'm clear. It is that way for you, and it is that way for us. You have won our hearts. You've won my heart.
Aww. Well, I
So,
only want the
Nova,
best.
welcome to the club. Anything you
Thank
want to
you.
say before we close? Giovanni, anything you need to say before we close?
Okay. Nova, thank you so much. You definitely have won our hearts. I can't wait to have lunch with you and learn from you and share your heart with as many people as I can. You definitely opened up this opportunity for me to lead with my heart rather than only my mind.
Oh, I love that. The question I'll leave for all of you to ponder. Are you ready? Pens ready? What activity do I do in which I exhibit consistent and near perfect performance? What do I do that's consistent? And you got to identify that, because what happens is we all do different things and we don't know what we do that's really consistent and takes us to the next level. Is it something with your mind that's consistent, or with your heart? Or is it both? What do you do? That's what I'll leave you with. Thank you so much, everybody. Remember this. Now that you learned this, you got to share it with other people. Take
Pay it
care.
forward.
Nice
Pay it
meeting you, Nova.
forward.
Now.
Thank you
Bye.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, Nova.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great morning, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good day, everybody.
You too.
Have a wonderful day. Hi, Mark.
Hey, Karina, how you doing?
Good. You look so bright.
Yeah, I got to be bright today. What's today? Tuesday? Is today?